Okay, so I'm about halfway through my turbo install. I figured while I have everything disconnected, the radiator hoses are disconnected, coolant is drained, oil is drained. I also have some of the fuel lines and the electrical disconnected. I'm gonna have to do the clutch. So I figured the best way would just to be to pull the engine out and just do the clutch that way. I got started on removing the bolts that go through the transmission bell housing into the block. They're all 14 millimeter bolts. I think there's, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe about 6 bolts, and then there's 2 nuts all the way at the bottom, which are 14 millimeter as well. What I did was I just used my impact gun with a really long extension and the 14 millimeter driver, and I was actually able to get most of them from underneath the car, and kind of just sticking my impact gun through the transmission tunnel to kind of knock them free. I believe the next thing we have to address is the motor mounts. I think those are 14 millimeter as well. We'll hit those next, and we can actually start pulling the engine out of the car and get started on the clutch. Before I pull the engine out, this AC compressor is actually gonna have to come out as well. It's 3 bolts. I already have them all loose. I just gotta pull them out. The AC compressor just kind of like turns onto its side, and you could push it out the way. That way all the hoses stay intact. They have OEM jacking point right here, and then there's another point you can put the chain through this bolt right here on the compressor. Otherwise, I think that's all we need for the engine. Okay, so engine's out. We've got some goodies. We got the clutch inside the car, sitting on the passenger seat right now. We'll get started on putting everything together. Okay guys, so the engine is back in. It wasn't difficult to pull out nor to put back in, but it was physically demanding to actually get both the transmission and the engine to line up and actually go in together. I got all the bolts for the bell housing into the engine block in. So I just have to connect some wiring, connect some fuel lines. The AC compressor goes back in. And that's pretty much it for this. I didn't get any footage of me doing the transmission. I'll catch you guys back up with that. While I was in there, I figured I might as well do the throwout bearing, the pivot for the clutch fork itself, and the hydraulic line for the clutch. BRZs are notoriously known for the clutch forks actually snapping and breaking. So I figured I might as well do that. I did get a new clutch fork from BRZ Engineering. They have, I think it's like a forged clutch fork. It's just the same thing, but a very solid forged part that you wouldn't normally break. I also picked up a Cusco catch can, oil catch can on eBay. This was pre-opened. It was installed but never actually used, so I got it for 60 bucks, super cheap. I'm actually gonna convert this into Venta Atmosphere. I may put the install for the catch can in one of the turbo episodes, or I might just end up making an install just for this itself. All right, guys, that's going to be it for this episode. Everything is buttoned up. Check me out on the next episode, episode 4 of the turbo install.